Hello, everyone, and good evening. It is Friggin Friday. I've got a great guest tonight, Lukey Boxing. My guy, how are you doing tonight?
Good. I spent my whole day without I like the thumbs down thing. I
Who
spent
did
my
the
whole
thumbs
day.
down?
Oh, I saw a thumbs down in the screen.
Yeah, me too.
Um, that was funny. Just bought a new cell phone, so that's like going to a beach. So I
Okay.
had a day full of leisure, just figuring out how to get my phone to work while people are trying to text me to do stuff.
Oh my God. I don't know if I would compare that to a day on the beach, but okay. All right. I'll accept that. So, last week I was talking about some topics that I wanted to talk about, and I wanted to know what other people wanted to talk about. And you talked about the state of boxing and where it's going to be in 3 years. And you know what? It really intrigued me, and that's why I wanted you on the show tonight because that is a question that I think that we're all wondering. We boxing heads want to know what is going on. So, whenever you asked that question, what was going through your mind?
Well, I mean, I come from like leadership, right? So that's that I should preface that, right? And something that I say when I do leadership, and I'm not trying to give people a webinar or bore people, you start simple and then you go complex. So like starting simple at USA Boxing is easy. Bring the fighters there, show up at these times. Complexity comes, food poisoning, people get hurt, etc. Boxing right now, I don't know how you simplify it. The simplest thing to do is to make the best fights or to force the fighters who are the most interesting into bouts that people want to watch. That is the simplest nature of what we should be looking for in the sport. And yet that isn't happening. And the reason it's not happening is complicated answers. So to kind of start this dialogue, I'm concerned because we're trying to go from complicated to simple, and it never works that way. We need to go from simple and then allow complicated situations to intervene in our lives. So I'm concerned with the state of boxing because we've got a lot of superstars, but none of which seem to be fighting each other in their primes.
So, in your perfect world, what does it look like? So, where they are going to fight each other because you are absolutely right. Like the best are not fighting the best, like they used to do back in the day, in my opinion. So, what is the solution? How can we make this better for today? And we won't talk about tomorrow yesterday's fights, but let's yeah.
I mean, we can get into that because I got that goes into my leadership rant too of
Okay.
accountability, but I think that we need to get rid of promoters with network contracts. I think that is the fix. I think we need the networks to need to want to buy good fights, and that promoters aligning with networks, that's a direct conflict of interest. Networks should look to buy boxing programming, and then the promoters need to promote fights that the networks will pay for.
Yes, absolutely. No, absolutely. And the thing is that the youth today, the kids, the guys, the gals that are coming up to USA Boxing, they will mention once they go to the Olympics and do whatever they have to do, they're going to get with this certain manager because they have the contracts with TV, and there are certain promoters that will be able to promote him well. And I get it. Like everybody wants to be up there like Mayweather was and Pacquiao and everybody else. But we as consumers and we as fans want to see the best fight the best. Um, I don't know. It's right now it's very confusing the way things are going. Not confusing, but confusing because we're not getting the fights that we want to see because the promoter knows that they can get more money from this person and that person. And I think that we saw that last night. Correct me if I'm wrong.
I mean, I watched the fight and I was drinking with my mom, so I'm not like the most serious eyeballs because I just got tired. of it. But my frustration is I think Teofimo is a potential Hall of Fame fighter, but he frustrates me because I've never once heard him say, this guy gave me a problem. He's the most unlucky guy ever. It's always somebody else's fault. It's always some situation burdening him. And I talk about this a little bit. To me, and I don't know if you being coach, maybe you've seen different examples. That's not a growth mindset to me. If you're always a victim, oh, I'm always the victim. Oh my God, I'm so unlucky. How do you get better if you're always the person that's being held back by some system? And this dates back to when he didn't make the Team USA, and it was Carlos Balderos, and it was against all odds. This is an
Absolutely.
ongoing problem with me that I want to see Tio, and I like Tio too, but I'd like to see Tio be more accountable because he's getting to that fine line where I think he could be a Hall of Famer, but he's about to become what he's going to become. And there's an uncomfortable truth is there's certain things in the ring he doesn't like doing. And he doesn't like coming towards fighters. He doesn't like when he can't counterpunch you when there's a hand speed difference. He likes it when the hand speeds are closer. I'm just kind of frustrated with that. And I get what you're saying because it's like Sandro Martin, Nakatani. Now it's this fight.
Mm-hmm.
You almost feel as though the sport is corrupt, right? Because it's like, if the other person was in the same spot, they'd win, right? So
Right. Absolutely.
I think that boxing has this beautiful thing where we have an underdog and then they never seemingly win. So people leave the sport of boxing because they don't see the great stories that they see in March Madness, that they see in the Super Bowl, maybe. The underdog always gets screwed over in boxing, even though Rocky is a big deal.
Absolutely. Well, I think the thing is that we don't start out to be corrupt. I think that obviously whenever somebody puts money somewhere, it's a business, and you invest your money and you hope that you can get a return. But I think that at this time, the promoters have kind of changed the game because the best are not fighting the best. And like last night, it was horrendous in my opinion. A lot of people were saying that Ortiz was running. Well, to me, he had the perfect plan for Tio because who's going to stand in front of Tio and get knocked out? And then at the end of it all, when I believe that Ortiz won at least 7 rounds, um the scoring was outrageous, well, especially the one scoring. And now Tio is going to go on because he is the champion. But the thing is yes, he had the circus that came before him. He puts on a good show. The promoters can make money off of him, and maybe they sat back and thought, Ortiz is not going to make us the money that Tio will. I do not want to think that there is a little meeting that goes on before fights that says, you know what, this is what it is. No matter what happens, this is how we're going to score it. I want to believe that that is not true, but it seems like more and more we are beginning to doubt the powers that be. I don't know. What are your thoughts on that? And I, and
I,
I'm
I,
I'm like treading lightly. I'm treading
the,
lightly.
I get what you're saying, but like to me, I just think that it's a bad fight. And you got 3 people that are probably thinking about should I go to Applebee's, Sizzler, or Fuddruckers because they're hungry.
Yeah.
And if you're in a bad fight and it's not exciting, I think it's very easy to get bad scorecards because people don't really care that much. I get that it's your life. I get that it's an important moment in your life, but it's like I tell people, I've seen a ton of club show fighters lose 6-rounders because they put up an uninteresting performance and you can see the judges are half asleep thinking about maybe tomorrow I'm going to get a great cup of coffee at this place. I think that I don't think corruption exists the way we think it does. I think corruption exists in that was a really close round. I guess Teofimo probably won it because he's famous. Like
Hmm.
that's where I think it really stems from. I
So
don't
it's more about the human nature and the mistakes that we make, you think?
Yeah, because I don't think Top Rank's that invested in Tio. Like I don't see them backing him in some elaborate way. I think that This was an awful fight. Jermaine fought a really good strategic fight. I just think that
Yeah.
he wasn't able to, in the second half of the fight, he didn't have that output he had in the first half, where
Hmm.
I think he would have separated. And I think that, look, how much do judges make? Probably not a ton. So they're probably, judges are fans. They're drawn to the sport. So, like Paulie Malignaggi says, a lot of people love follow the leader. He's coming forward. Oh, he must be winning. So, I mean, in that instance, you've got a famous person against a fighter who maybe some of the judges are unfamiliar with. And I think that's where these instances come from. But I mean, I think that the issue at large is, okay, why isn't Raymond Muratalla in the conversation with Teofimo and Keyshawn? And that's where I get frustrated is it's selective politicking for big famous names in the
Absolutely.
sport as opposed to deserving fighters. So guys like Arnold Barbosa, who does everything, he never gets an opportunity. Raymond
Yes.
Muratalla has to do 5 times as much as somebody. And Keyshawn Davis, rightfully, won a silver medal, but he's going to skip way past those guys. And when they get brought up, he's going to go, well, I've never heard of them. And that's kind of what's hurting the sport is some of these guys we've never heard of deserve opportunities with people we have heard of.
No, that's very true. That's very true. Um, so on that point, so you had mentioned that like maybe, they don't know who Ortiz is. The judges don't know who they are. So they're just like, you know what? We know who Tio is because he's loud. He's getting everybody's attention. His dad is loud and he demands, like attention. Like here I am. So do you think that that's what the boxers today need to do? Like we have social media, we have so many other things going on. Do they need to make like a big deal and do they need to make themselves known so that judges and referees know who they are whenever they get to the big stage?
I mean, I'm going to stop watching boxing if that's what this sport becomes because we're turning into pro wrestling. We're bordering on like, oh, what kind of personality does this guy do? What's he going to bring to the I don't give two craps about that stuff.
Yeah.
If I'm paid to write about it, I watch it, but I don't care about, oh my God, what's Keith Thurman going to say at a press? No, how's he going to fight? And we're
Yeah.
starting to get into this absurdist, bizarro world where people who can really fight, like Inoue, Crawford, and Usyk, are becoming irrelevant because they don't sit and say stupid things that people can make TikTok videos about and are mature adults. It feels like the people who are being rewarded are immature people that I'd be frankly embarrassed to be around. And those are the people getting rewarded currently in boxing. And it's really embarrassing when I tell people that watch other sports, oh, I'm a football fan. And then you show up like some of our best representations of boxing, most relevant. They're kind of embarrassing, when you put a microphone on them. So, I mean, if that's where our sport is going in the next 10 years, I'm probably not going to be involved because that's just not what I want to put my time into. I don't want to be someone that facilitates young people being foolish and just sitting by and going, right on, you can really box. So this inappropriate behavior is justified because of your great boxing ability.
No, I totally agree. So, and that's my next question. So, you had said where are we going to be in terms of networks in the next 3 years? So, what are your thoughts on that? Because that is really a question that I ask myself, and you do too, obviously, um, for the climate that we're in today. And how do you answer that?
Well, let's do what Beanie Siegel does. Let's start a question with a question. So let's say, why would we keep boxing on television? Let's start with that. What is the value of boxing currently for a major network platform? Really, what is it? What is the value? I mean, I guess we have visibility. I guess there's athletes that want to be that like boxing or a fan of the sport. We have some larger than life personalities, but I'm running out of reasons to defend the sport I love being on network televisions. And that's what scares me. That's what prompts me to say this question is we totally are a fringe sport. We're similar to CrossFit. We're similar to really a lot of these golf, a lot of these niche sports, smaller sports. And I think it's because we don't make the great fights that get everybody talking. When Crawford Spence happens, all of a sudden you see Crawford becomes a megastar because everyone wanted to know the answer. I think we're destined to be just kind of on these streaming apps. And what scares me is how many young people are just going to come across boxing on an app. We're just going to be speaking to the same or smaller audience year after year, if that's the thing. That's my fear.
Yeah, that's very sad. It really is. So Al the Pal said, "Why the hell even have guys that never fought to be judges in the fights?" I've asked that many times. Like even on the amateur level, I've asked that. Like, what kind of training do you get, and what experience do you have? Because a lot we are human, and sometimes we do things on emotion. But if we can separate that because we have this boxing brain or we have this experience, that helps. But there's so many that do not. And last night was a prime example, in my opinion. I know that Bud Crawford, who we love, had said, this is boxing, hit and don't get hit, not just fight. I didn't see, someone sent me an interview after the fight of Timothy Bradley. I haven't watched it yet and I'm going to. But during the fight, listening to him, it was like, what are you talking about? They were saying, Mark Kriegel and he were saying that Tio was the more aggressive. Well, yeah, he was in the middle of the ring and he was stalking his opponent, Ortiz, but he wasn't cutting off the ring and he wasn't landing punches. He landed some body shots. He landed some right hands every now and then, but stalking and delivering, I didn't see it, so I don't know. I don't know what the judges are looking at. Are they looking for someone who looks as though they're dominating, or someone that's connecting? I'm confused. And I've been I've been in the game, almost 25 years. So I'm confused.
We
What were
messed
you
up. We should have been judges, because think about this great job. If you're a judge, you never are accountable. You never have to do interviews. You never have to explain why you do anything. It's like the
Wow, yeah.
sweetest job ever. Like,
You're right.
like, can you think of any other profession where it's like, okay, you have this scorecard that no 117, 111. I don't even know who gave the card. Right? We don't know the name of the person. Could be a man or a woman. They don't have to do media questions because that's ridiculous. Why
Right.
does this ridiculous card have to come? It's the greatest job ever. So I think part of the issue is there's zero accountability. There's zero accountability. The judge, we know the judges never get punished. They never get fired. And we've lost faith in that system.
You're right.
Quite, quite frankly, right?
You're right. You're right. Yeah, I think that and this is not a dig, but I think the average boxing fan is like, you know what, I'm gonna watch this boxing event, and whatever the outcome is, no matter what I see, maybe I don't know what I'm seeing. So whatever the judges say, they're professionals, so that must be, what it is. And then we're like, no, this is not what it is. It is about hit and don't be hit, and outbox somebody. And then we're all left kind of like perplexed, like kind of confused. So I thought that your question, like, where we're going to be in the next, 3 years, was so like profound.
Well, let me add to
Because
this. Like, because, like, look, we've got a sport that might not be on television,
yeah,
a sanctioning body that we don't ever trust. We don't trust any of the belt companies, really. We don't trust our judges. We don't trust the referees. We don't trust the promoters. And we don't trust the people putting on the fights. Why does our sport need to be on television? If we love boxing, we breathe boxing. All the people I know in my 650 contacts, including you in the ring with Christine, and I love talking to you.
yeah,
We don't trust it. So why
right.
should America care? Why? Like, I'm saying it because, like, if I used anything that's made me successful in life, I would say boxing doesn't deserve to be on network television.
Yeah, and it's so sad because, we love it. And just like I had said before, it's like, you know, I've said it, like these guys are getting in the ring, they're risking their lives literally, literally, and they're fighting for these belts, that they have to pay for and that they fight for and risk their lives for, and then they don't get a fair shake. And then the fans that are just now tuning into boxing, they're like confused. They're like fucking confused. Like, okay, how does this work? Like, if you had to explain how boxing worked, how you win, what can you say today?
I mean, it's a favoritism game right now. If we want to be honest, because look, your guy Bud Crawford beat the hell out of Spence, right? But if that fight was close, what do you think the scores would have looked like?
Exactly.
Everything about boxing we know what it was. What makes this is I'll say this why Bud he went from being a good fighter to an all-time great fighter to me. He didn't just fight Errol Spence, he fought the system. He came into a situation where everything was against him if you have a boxing brain.
Yeah.
The promoters were kind of with him, but they really had been with Errol Spence the whole way. And for a fighter to beat everything in boxing, that means you're a special fighter. That's Andre Ward. That's Naoya Inoue. That's Alexander Usyk. That's
Yeah.
Terrence Crawford. These are different level of fighters. And
Yes.
another one's Dimitri Bivol, right? Here's Dimitri Bivol. He beats
Yes.
Canelo, beats the system, and then DAZN doesn't even offer him a television date. They go, and I'm sorry I'm getting all wild up, but this gets me mad because
But it's true.
here's Bivol. He beats Canelo. He beats Zordo Ramirez, and he's the boxer of the year in 2022, but he can't get a main event on DAZN. What are we doing? Like, why aren't we rewarding the people? Terrence Crawford should get whatever money you want to give him, and he should get big fight dates because he's earned it. He did something amazing, and I think that hurts the sport too. Is guys like Inoue, guys like Usyk, guys like Crawford, guys like Bivol, they're not getting rewarded enough with marquee TV dates for doing these big wins.
It's true. And even like on a smaller scale. And I'm just gonna talk, because personal, like my girl, Chicken, Shay Metcalf. We go and we beat Yoshida in New York. Okay. And then Yoshida gets to fight Ebony. Yoshida beats Ebony, and we're still like waiting for our opportunity. Like, but we beat her. We beat Yoshida. So, like I said, even on the smaller scale, it's happening. And then it gets to the big stage. It's not fair. It's not right. Back in the day, it was the best fighting the best. You know, we talked about back in the day too, it was 15 rounds, which I mean, I don't want to bring back the 15 rounds, but I don't mind bringing back big purse, little purse. Something's got to change. It's all about the promoters.
It's politics. Who's more? I'm stronger than you. I'm the A side.
I
I'm
know.
big dog. And it's like we need to get back to two tough people saying I'm tougher than you, because it's like, look, why isn't Kenny Sims Jr. getting opportunities? Why isn't
Oh my
Richardson
gosh.
Hitchens getting opportunities? Why isn't Charles
Yes.
Conwell getting opportunities? Why aren't
Oh,
like
Shockey
why
Foster, how long has he been in the system trying to get there? Like, and proven himself, you know?
and then he is the champion and he goes to Mexico. He has to
Yes.
fight the challenger in his hometown, and Matchroom doesn't pick him up after the fight.
Yeah,
Why has Frank Sanchez been a prospect for 5.5 years, but we know he could fight for a title?
absolutely.
The problem with boxing to me and networks are, you want to be $1 million fighter? Okay, cool. Fight Frank Sanchez, prove it. Oh, cool. You're a good 140-pound fighter. Your TV debut is against Kenny Sims. He's owed a big fight. You say you're $1 million fighter. Kenny,
Absolutely.
you're coming in at 300,000 or a little bit lower than maybe what you should, but this is a life-changing opportunity. We need to get some of these hardworking pros who've battled, and we need to get away from this buddy system of, hey, you're my friend, so let's put you in with Let's put you in with and that's a shot at Tim Tszyu, Keith Thurman, because why is that fight happening? It makes no sense.
You know what? You're right. And so it makes no sense. It doesn't. It makes no sense. But I'm gonna go to the fight. I am. It seems like that is where, like, we have to follow what these promotional companies are putting out there. Um and I don't know. It kills me. It kills me because, but I don't know. It's just not fair. But I have to say, so the big dog right now, and I don't know how to pronounce his name. I say King T in Saudi Arabia.
Oh, Turkey.
Turkey, yes. He so I mean he stated, he I don't know if he put it on Twitter or somewhere, and I saw, and he was like, "You know what? I have health issues. I have money, and I'm going to put these big fights together." Well, we're hearing rumors about, Crawford and Canelo fighting there, Better Bivol. Those are the fights we want to see. So he has nothing to lose. He has nothing to gain. I mean, he already has everything from what I can gather. And that's what I personally want to see. How about you? Are you against that? Like, so many people like, oh my God, like we're taking our fights to Saudi Arabia. I don't have a problem with that. Do you?
I mean, I'm a bit conflicted, but it's not like the usual one. Like, because look, the fighters deserve all the money they can get because they can die in the ring.
Yes.
My only concern with Saudi Arabia is I worry that we might be the best partner for Saudi Arabia in the sense that they can become the relevant sports figure that they couldn't be with golf and soccer. And I just don't necessarily, but I guess maybe my view of morality for boxing is just outdated because boxing's never been a moral sport. It's always been the black market. But I guess I'm a part of me doesn't want to look the other way at certain human rights violations that Saudi Arabia has done in the past. I'm a Christian. I believe in forgiveness, but I do like there are some things that I'm not the biggest fans of in Saudi Arabia, but I'm fine talking to anybody about any of these things. It's just I like freedom of speech really means something to me.
Mm-hmm.
And like that's an uncomfortable line for me when we're having American fighters fight in a country where there isn't freedom of religion and freedom of speech. That's something that I'm slightly uncomfortable with. Now, maybe over time I can learn to be like, okay, these are big events. They want to bring in tourism, etc. Um, that's a ridiculous statement. But I mean, look, boxing is always going to go where the money goes. There's no ethics to boxing. It's unregulated capitalism. And it's just going to be what it is. And at the end of the day, Saudi Arabia is going to put up a lot of money, and money talks in boxing. So Saudi Arabia is going to be here, and it's going to be here for as long as they want to be here. And it's going to be the most willing, it's going to be the most profitable endeavor they do because they can be the figurehead of boxing, which they haven't been in any other sport.
Well, I think when it comes to this, it's like a fine line, because we can always look at the politics of another country, or we can look at religion and this and that. And I'm Christian, like, absolutely, like I see what you're saying. But if we can just talk about or focus on boxing, and as a boxing fan, because I'm a boxing fan, you're a boxing fan, no matter what we do in boxing, we are ultimately, at the end of the day, boxing fans. If somebody is going to give our boxers, our warriors, the opportunity to fight the best of the best, make the best, money that they can make to take care of their family, and we are going to be satisfied as fans, are we able to put everything else aside, or are we going to continue to speak against it? And it doesn't matter what we say anyway, but they're still going to happen. But are you able to say, you know what, this is a good platform, and our warriors are going to get what they deserve finally, and we're going to see the best fights finally? Are
I
you
mean,
able to accept that?
yeah, I'm cool with whatever, right? I think the best outcome for me would be that there's dialogues around my discomfort with elements of it, and that a sport like boxing allows me to understand Saudi Arabian culture better. So
Mm,
then we're able to come to, because I'm sure there's aspects of America that Saudi Arabia is uncomfortable with.
sure,
The
sure.
best version of this in my head would be we have some dialogues about what makes both of us uncomfortable about each other, and it's done over a passion that we all love, boxing. That would be the best case scenario.
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
my thing is, like, I just don't want, like, this to be a money grab where some fighters are just, like, not as interested, or fight atmospheres aren't great. It's just kind of like a weird, it's like, okay, this is the biggest fight. It's Crawford versus Canelo, and the crowd is not going crazy because they're not used to seeing fights.
Yeah, I think that I think that's what's going to be next. But I try to be optimistic. I really do. And we may have disagreements, Saudi Arabia, America, our religion, whatever, but I try to find a common ground. So if boxing is the bridge to bring us together, and we're both getting what we want in boxing, then maybe after that we can like start to understand and have a dialogue, with each other, because I am so blessed to be able to go to different countries and have different countries coming here, and anything that I had, any preconceived thoughts or judgments or whatever, once I get to shake people's hand and talk to them, and meet other boxers that are doing exactly what our boxers are doing, it's totally like a game changer. So I don't know how to put that into words, but it
I mean, I
just
think it's great to meet people that share a common passion but are from different places, right? Because, like, that's the goal. Like, if I go to Germany or I go to Russia, it's like there's so many things I'm uncomfortable with, but then all of a sudden you find your boxing. It's like a religion to me. Boxing's like a
absolutely.
religion. So anyone that speaks the boxing culture, the religion, it's like you almost go, okay, so how do I get around this city? And it's like a place where every boxing person can go and work backwards from. And I think that's kind of how I explore life. If I go to a town, I'm like, let me go to this boxing gym. Let me see how good this guy is, et cetera, et cetera. And
Yeah.
that's what I'm interpreting you were saying.
Yeah, no, that's exactly what I'm saying. It's just like the common bond, the common, language, and then everything else, it doesn't matter, to me. I don't know, but we had China here last year, and they were lovely, and there's so much bad talk, bad publicity. They were lovely. They had the same dreams, the same aspirations that we do. They want, good for their family, for their country. They have their religion, they have their beliefs. We're all the same. We really are once we sit down and talk about it. So I've definitely learned a lot over the years. But just like you, I am curious about where the state of boxing is going to be in the next 3 years, not only in terms of networks, but in terms of everything. There's rumors about the Olympics, there's rumors about many things. It's concerning because this is the sport that I love.
Well, let
So
me throw it let me just hijack the show, right? Because I'm coming in hot. And
absolutely,
I like,
please do.
who's taking over the sport, right? Because I expected it to be Shakur, but he's on like a hiatus retirement right now, so we can't say that. I mean, Devin's doing a fairly decent job, but like I don't know if, like, he's got to pick these fights that are interest. It's like Ryan Garcia and him seem to be fighting. Well, to me on paper, that's a mismatch. But I mean, I guess it's an entertaining fight for some people. Um, but I guess that's the other thing is I don't see the superstar boxer
No,
who's going to
and and,
carry the
and
sport.
no, and we saw Abdullah Mason last night, and he's good, but he's up and coming. He's not there yet. So I'm with you. Like who is going to take over? Crawford is here, but he's not planning on staying very long because he's smart. He's going to retire before the sport retires him. So I'm with you. Like Who is the face? Who is next? What's going to happen? It's such a good question. It really is.
Well,
And yeah,
I was gonna
I don't
say,
know.
like, because like, look, we go through the pound for pound. And it's like we're prematurely putting these kids up there. Devin to me
Very
is a
true.
pound for pound guy because he has two big wins
Yes.
that were there. But I mean, Shakur is doing great things, but I'm not quite sure if Shakur, talent wise, he's pound for pound. But I'm not sure if he's had the events. Gervonta, I mean, like he's had some good wins, but is he pound? We're trying to get these guys into these rankings without. Why don't Gervonta and Shakur fight? Why doesn't
Yes.
Devin and Shakur fight? Because we really need those fights to happen to understand
We
who the
do.
best fighter is. It's ridiculous when we have 4 fighters in the pound for pound list and they all fight at the same weight class. That is
Yeah.
an issue, you know?
Yeah, that's true. Boxing pound for pound Jack said Devin Haney is the best to bet on, like today. And then Virgil Ortiz if he gets his medical issues. You know, and see that's the thing. It's like I think that social media can be so amazing, but then again, it could also be a detriment because we would not know in the past people's medical or mental issues. You know, we wouldn't. It's just like this is the guy, and then again, you know, the promoters would have the best fighting the best. It's like it's a blessing, but almost a curse. You know, this social media, in my opinion. I don't know.
I mean, to me, this is the issue, right? And I'm just going to rant. And I was going to come on here and drink a little Bushmills. But I said, you know what? I'm not going to do that because I'm probably going to do that during the Super Bowl. And I might end up saying something that gets someone mad or something. So
It's
I'm
okay.
not doing that.
I
I told
promise you.
myself I wouldn't lose it, but I'm going to lose it without doing the
Lose it.
Bushmills.
Lose
I'm
it.
going to lose it. Well, look, I don't want to say there's a level of entitlement, but there's a level of entitlement in boxing right now. And then we have
Yeah.
this other side where we got guys like I keep bringing up, Usyk and Inoue are perfect examples, who are totally not entitled. And they're just going to sit there and go, I'm a badass boxer. And in the modern world, that doesn't really mean anything in America. And then look at our fight dates this month. We got a bunch of people that the world says are main event boxers. Who have they fought? Well, it doesn't. And it's hurting the sport because it's, and Roy is one of my favorite fighters, Roy Jones. But
Oh yeah.
it's the lasting
When he
impact.
was great, not
Oh,
recent.
yeah, it's sad seeing Superman lose right now,
Right. Absolutely.
but like I think that what we're seeing is we're living in this post Roy, post Floyd era. Roy Jones, if and my memory, I've been hitting the head, so please correct me if I'm wrong. HBO Boxing did the exclusive contract with Roy where they're basically like, you're so awesome, just whoever you want to fight, we'll put you on. It's going to be a lot of
Yes.
money. That
Yes.
paved the way. And then that paved the way for Floyd to be a strategic
Mhm.
businessman, to go about things this way. And now we're in this modern era of fighters who aren't even accomplishing what Roy and Floyd did to get to that point.
You're
They
right.
just want to enter into that level and then do what their heroes did.
Yes.
And it's creating this really frustrating era of being a fight fan where basically everyone's trying to like prolong a decent fight to the point where decent fights aren't even that exciting anymore because they're just the fights that we as fight fans ought to see. And for the history and the sanctity of the sport, we need some clarity,
I
and that's the issue.
I agree. No, I agree. I agree wholeheartedly. But what's the answer? Like, what do we do? Where do we go from here?
I mean, the answer is networks are going to start to cut budgets and drop boxing. And then that should be a wake up call when boxing's losing distribution of, hey, guess what? This model that's working of like a boys club or in your with chicken, a women's club, right? It's this inner workings of it's not the deserving fighter or the fighter who just won. It's the person that probably is most convenient and will fight for a set of salary. The solution is, I hate to say, when the market crashes, and the market will crash at some point,
Hmm.
it needs to rebuild with substance. There's too much pure
Yes.
bull crap. And
Yes.
we need to rebuild the boxing market on fights that the fans actually trust are valid. And I hate to say this, but it's
You're
the
right.
truth. We
You're right.
need to validate losing. We need to say, if you lose a fight, you're not a bad fighter. You're just going to have to either take another tough fight and we'll see where you stack up,
Mhm.
or you can redevelop and still be a world champion. Your friend Jamel Herring had 2 losses. Losses didn't hurt his career. Adam Lopez has a gazillion.
Yeah.
Gabriel Rosado has a lot. Losses
Yes.
are looked at as you're not a good fighter, when really they should just be something that are normalized.
They're
So
lessons.
yeah, and the fact that as fight fans we've been indoctrinated to not look at them as lessons or normal things in a pro fighter's career
Yeah.
now makes these young 18 and 19-year-old kids, who, I don't know about you, but when I was 18 or 19, I was super insecure. So I'm
Yeah.
assuming they're as insecure as I was. And they're looking at, well, if I lose, I must suck. I'm not as good as
Exactly.
Floyd. And then
I
that
should
holds up
quit.
the sport.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And then that's where, the mental part of it comes in. And it's so important. Anybody that knows boxing knows that, yeah, you can be physically fit, you can have a gas tank, but if your mind is not right and you're not mentally sound, you're not going to do well. So if you think you're a fucking loser, even if you're not, you're going to be a loser. It's everything: mind, body, spirit. It's everything.
Well,
Uh,
in the culture right now, right? It's like, what are, like, if we polled 5 people at whatever boxing gym, do you think they'd want $1 million or 1 million followers on Instagram? Right? And that's the
Great
culture
question.
we're living in right now. So it's like,
Yeah.
I bet you at least one person would go, I'd rather have 1 million followers on Instagram.
Yeah, because they're
And
like, I'm gonna make the million sooner or later. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, absolutely.
with that like fake Instagram advice, you got to know your own value. So I could turn
Yeah.
that into 2 million. And it's like, we're living in this world of everyone is way too important. Like
Yeah.
everyone, like, honestly, I shouldn't be as important as I was. I rose up through the internet and being a powerful voice, but it made someone as irrelevant as me relevant, right? The power of the internet. And now you got people that have access to annoying Shakur Stevenson, annoying Coach Red, annoying Keyshawn Davis. They can just pop up and they don't have any talent, but irrelevant people have become relevant. And I think that's also killed some of the mystery of fighters. Like, it used to really mean something for me to see a Paul Williams vignette. It's like,
Oh
who's
yeah.
this mythical man? And,
Yeah.
and now it's like, I go on there and it's like people I went to high school with, I'm seeing pro boxers like their Instagram pictures when they're in bikinis. And it's
Yeah.
disappointing. I'm like, what the freak, bro? I was in eighth grade English with her. She's not that awesome, bro.
That's true. That is so true. And I have a question for you. So looking at the climate that we're in today, and Shakur Stevenson, we don't know. He said he retired. We'll see what
He
happens.
didn't retire.
Let's
Like, I really doubt he retired, but he's
well,
saying he is.
okay, so let's just take it for face value. Let's say he's retired, okay? Do you think that that has to do with the climate that we're in today, with social media and everybody's opinions and all that shit, or was it something that he decided in the gym within
I
himself?
I think he's frustrated. I think Shakur is frustrated because I think that, like myself, I truly believe in terms of talent, he's the most talented young fighter. And I think that he feels that he's being avoided because he's one of the biggest risks in the sport as a very talented fighter. And I think he's just frustrated and he's mad that he can't get these opportunities that other fighters he believes are getting. My only pushback that I wish he would do is what I think my guy David Morrell is doing is, you got to take, and it's easier said for me to do, just sitting here in a LED light talking to you on a
Same,
laptop.
same.
Uh, but like, take less money, right? Because when you're that talented, you have to overpay.
Yeah,
That's the simple truth in the business of it. I know it sucks, but I guess that's my frustration is,
yeah,
you're making a lot of money, and to entice a Frank Martin, why not just put a little bit more pressure? Do what Lomachenko did to Teofimo. Put money out of your check into these fighters, because I think he can beat most, if not all. And I guess
yeah,
that's my frustration with Shakur is I wish that he put this pressure financially on people that I think a guy like David Morrell really is doing right now. I think he's taking short money to make long money.
Yeah, I think that's what he's doing too. And it's sad, but it is what it is. And it's like boxing has changed. It's changed over the last, 10, 15 years, and more significantly the last 5 years. I don't know where it's going. It's the sport that we love, but we're just gonna have to sit back and wait and see. And we can talk and talk and talk, but at the end of the day, it's about money, and I don't have any, so you know, it is what it is. Um,
I mean,
so
look, it's always gonna be dying and it's always gonna be great, right? Like that's what
yeah,
boxing is gonna be. It's like everyone's going, oh my god, it's over, it's over. But it's I don't know. Like I think that the problem is right now we're in this era of young people wanting all the money. Like that's a
hmm
new, and
hmm
maybe that's always been that, but I feel like Instagram and influencers have really made it become I'm 25 and I got 20 million, etc.
yeah,
And I'm missing from this generation of boxers the legacy component of like, you know what? I'm going to be rich regardless. I really want to be Ray Robinson in my era. And there's just too much of this money and fame element from
yeah,
this era of boxer, in my
I,
opinion.
I agree. I agree. I agree. And I think you and I have all the solutions to solve all the world's problems, but who's listening? you know?
I mean, look, it all starts with like a ripple, right? You have to voice your frustration, right? And that's like why, like with Teofimo, I'm not just gonna sit there and go, "Oh man, like I can't wait to see this." Like, no, look, um Tio is one of these guys where he has all the talent in the world, but he needs to be held accountable. I'm looking at the corner and it just looks like there's too many people that are just yes men, you know?
Absolutely. Oh my God, absolutely. Absolutely. And that's the thing. It's like people, once they've made it, they're like so afraid to lose it. So they're gonna like just they're yes men. And I think that there needs to be somebody, and I'm not necessarily talking about his camp, in many camps, to say, no, this is how we're gonna do it, because what we've done before has gotten you here. And no, you're not doing that. But people are so afraid to do that because they don't want to lose that paper. And that's sad. I see it all the time, as I'm sure you do too.
I mean, but I'm a hypocrite in that sense because once I start getting a check, I'm gonna go, okay, I don't want to mess this up. But I mean, at the same time, if I was in a boxer's corner, like I'll play like this, like I'm close with Charlie Sheehy, right? If
Love
Charlie was,
Shirley.
yeah, but if Charlie was messing up, I'd call him up and I'd be like, come on, man, we ain't doing that.
Exactly. Exactly. And that's my point. You have to be able to do that, because you don't have to worry about, oh, you know what, if I say this to Charlie, I can't pay my mortgage. And even if it did mess it up, you love him enough to say, don't do that. And that's the problem. That's the problem, in my opinion. Thank you, Al the Pow, for that $10. I appreciate you. Now I can say what I want to say. I'm still getting paid.
Okay, I thought you were gonna say that you're gonna go to Starbucks in the morning or something
I
because
mean,
that's
I may
about
go
what
to
like a
morning.
venti drink is.
I
Um,
do that.
I mean, I think it's troubling because there's a lot of people in the world that want to be famous,
Yeah.
and boxing has no like barrier of entry. So
Mm,
like all you gotta do is associate yourself with a great fighter, and then now you're famous guy. And I
yeah.
think that's the toughest thing. Like when I look at like one of my favorite young fighters, Jamal Harvey, I call him young greatness.
Oh,
That's
Jamal. Oh my God.
Jamal's awesome, young greatness, that's our gold medal. And it's like
Absolutely.
what makes him so special to me is how he's avoiding all of these pitfalls most people fall
Yes.
into. It's like he just
Yes.
seems like he's obsessed with being the guy.
He is. He is.
He is. And it's
And
like, oh, go for it.
no, I was gonna say I can attest to that. He's fucking awesome. I mean, he sparred today. I worked, his ring. He's fucking awesome. And he's not worrying about who's taking pictures, who's looking at him, who's talking about him. He just is going to be great because that's what he strives to be, period.
And it's like, that's like, so like I look at the fighters I'm drawn to, and like Jamal's like someone that the first time I saw him at a nationals, I said, "Ooh, he's good." And like people, like it was more, and people always were like, "Why do you like Jamal so much?" And then he went on a little. One of my buddies cracked me up. He goes, "Oh, I thought he was good. He got bronze in the worlds." I go, "Are you tripping?"
Do
Like
they
that?
realize what it takes to get a bronze? Like
Yeah,
what?
that was like
The
one of those,
world,
right?
in the world.
And
Hello, you're number 3 in the world.
I
Hello.
don't want to get you in trouble in the world, but let's be honest. We're USA. There's a lot of countries that don't like USA. I remember
Absolutely.
one tournament where all of our fighters lost except for Richard Torres, and he knocked the guy out. And it really felt like we could do any type of fight, and we just aren't going to get the decisions. And some of that is just political, based on I feel some countries don't want US fighters to win. And if I remember that tournament, that was a tournament where Jamal went in, he got booed, and that's just what we face in amateur boxing. We could act and lie about it, but it's just a reality.
Yes. Yes. Pan American Games, our kids are all of our kids because they're America's kids. For some of them for the first time experienced what it was like to get booed no matter who they fought, even if it was not the home country. um they experienced that, and it was, when I'm done with all of this, when I'm 100, I have a book to write, and it's yeah, yeah, they're amazing, they're
I mean,
amazing.
I remember when Jamal won, because I was talking to Daryl, the coach, and I was so excited because it's like that's probably it is the first Olympian that I've ever known before they were even on a track to be an Olympian. So it's real
Yes,
special to be
absolutely.
around that. But then I remember I showed the photo to my girlfriend to be like, "Look, Jamal's an Olympian," and she goes, "It's the guy that he's fighting hitting on the ref." Because it looked the photo that they sent me was the funniest one, where I think the Cuban was outraged, but it looked like he was spitting game at the
Oh
referee.
yeah, 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 yeah. I mean, because to beat a Cuban, oh my God, like that is like, that was huge. And I don't know what the picture you saw was, but yeah,
I'll have to send it to you, but it just looked awkward. It was just a funny foot. But look, this is the thing with Cuban boxers, and I love Cuban boxers. Andy Cruz, great.
same, absolutely.
They can sneeze and miss 7 punches and get 3 punches on the judges' scorecards, because
For
people
sure.
are they can stumble over their toes, and people go, "Oh man, I wish I could jab like him."
It's a reputation.
And you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I don't think people judge fairly when the Cubans go in, because I've seen a
No.
lot of American fighters beat Cuban fighters, and
Right.
people tell me about this master class the Cuban did.
Yeah, but when we actually get our hand raised, we fucking did something, because that doesn't happen.
It's called an
You know.
ass whooping.
Yeah.
Jamal's been beating up grown men when he was 18 and 19 years old.
Yeah.
Grown men.
Grown men. Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's
Absolutely.
it's crazy. But like, I don't know. I get frustrated with because it's like I love my USA boxing. I want to see a gold medal. I believe in these young people so much. And it hurts me more than the pros, right? Because Jermaine Ortiz
Yes.
loses, but he gets a big paycheck at least, or some kind of
Yeah,
paycheck,
that's
and
true. That's true.
his family get to come, and it's this great night. And at the worst, he can open like a bar or a tire shop and hang
Right.
up a photo of the night he should have been champ, right? And people come in and
Yeah.
buy him a shot of whiskey.
And people
When
will say you won that fight. You should have got your hand raised. Yeah. Yeah.
exactly, like that's like it's a moment in his life. When you get like Charles Conwell in 2016, he should have won that first fight, but he doesn't.
Right.
That he doesn't get pay for it, and he doesn't get acknowledged for it. And 10 years later, people even forget he's an Olympian. So
Yeah.
I get
That's true.
outraged more by the Olympians, Carlos Balderos in that same Olympics. drop
Yeah.
the guy twice and he loses the fight. They never call the
Yeah.
drops. I
Yes.
get outraged by that because the amateurs, you never know who's going to be a great pro and not. And
No.
I hate when you take the moment that's not getting paid from the fighter.
No, absolutely. And to get to that level, you have fought so many times to get to that level. And you can't pick and choose. There's no matchmakers. Whoever's in front of you, that's who you're going to fight. And people don't understand the level, that these kids, young adults, Team USA Olympians have gotten to. They really don't quite grasp it. They really don't. But you do.
This is going to go a different direction. It's harder to win an Olympic gold medal than it is a world title.
Abso-fucking-lutely.
And most people
100%.
wouldn't understand that. Most people
No,
wouldn't understand that. But look,
no,
Jamal's going for the Triple Crown, the AIBA, the Pan Ams, and the Olympics. That
absolutely.
that's phenomenal. But like I hear people all the time, oh, amateur boxing doesn't translate to the pros. Listen. Show me the top 10 fighters and show me the one that just kind of stumbled into a career and didn't do it as an amateur of some
Very few.
system.
Very few. Very small percentage. Yeah.
And they're jailhouse fighters, and they're probably going to have short careers, and they're
Yes.
probably not going to have a healthy life after boxing. I'm not wishing
Absolutely.
it on them, but they're going to be taking a lot of punches, and they
Yes.
probably hit freakishly hard. I'm just
Yes.
saying there's like all these narratives because people will look at a guy like Amir Khan, who was a great
Mhm.
amateur, and he didn't translate as a pro, and they'll go, look, I don't trust amateur. Look, yes, some amateurs don't make it, and some tough guys can beat an amateur, but by and large, I will stand by the decorated amateur over just a random guy.
Same. Same. Yeah, same. I mean, we see what they go through. We see what they do and who they fight, like I said, there's no matchmakers. Whoever's next up is next up, and that's who you. It's almost like you go into a club, like a bar house, fight. Like whoever's next. Like you beat this guy, now you gotta fight this guy. You beat this guy, now you gotta fight this guy. You can't pick and choose. Whoever's up, whoever's the toughest, that's who you fight. So it's people don't understand that, but it's okay. It's okay. We're
I
gonna
mean,
keep
it's the better sport right now. It honestly is.
absolutely.
The reason I enjoy amateur boxing so much is because you actually get to see the fights. Like I got to see Ben Whitaker versus Iman Kitov at last year's Olympics. That's a banger fight. That's going to
Yeah,
take like 8 years for us to see it as a pro fight. You just see it
absolutely.
at the Olympics. I got to see Andy Cruz, Keyshawn Davis.
Yeah.
Um, these are I think that for me it's more of a sport, and I wish boxing would adapt some of this to it.
Mhm.
And like if you want to make $4 million, you have to fight one of these three names, not whoever you
Yeah,
feel like, because what boxing to me feels like right now is, okay, you want to make fight for $4 million, who's the most realistic fighter that you can beat that we can charge that amount of money to
that's
watch?
true. That's
That's
true.
what boxing feels like. And I feel like
Yeah.
people aren't dumb. I
No,
know, so they understand what it is. Someone said reverse UFC. That's exactly where boxing is, right? And there's
it
been great
is.
fights, but as the way we develop fighters is stupid because we're putting guys in who are too talented to fight these people and trying to sell it as a main event fight.
Yep, that's true. You're absolutely right. You are. I don't know. We just have to sit back and see what happens. We just got to keep loving and do what we do and see what happens. I will tell you this though, and this team that we have, Team USA, and that's the thing too. It's like people have to know who our team is, like who is representing Team USA, who are going to the Olympics, because those are the future world champions. It is what it is. And a lot of people, if we ask them today, they don't know who's on the team. They're not following USA boxing. They don't know who's going to the Olympics or who's going to the trials. We're going to Italy next week for the second trials, for the qualifiers. And people don't, they don't follow. They don't know. And it's a shame because these young adults are really putting in the work. They
Well, I
really are.
mean, I'm knock on wood because I'm probably gonna go broke this year with all the traveling I'm gonna do, but I'm gonna try to
You'll
be
be
there to
happy though.
watch. Well, it's gonna be all right, but I mean, I want to see Jamal get his gold medal. So I mean, I'm really gonna try to be out there in France saying "we we." I want to
Ah,
be out there, and the big thing is as long as I can get my
yeah, there.
mom a ticket. I want to
Yes,
pay for my mom, get my mom there, get our USA flags. Loud
yes,
and proud, and I'm gonna
yes.
be saying we the whole time, and Jamal's gonna win that gold. I believe
Absolutely.
Raheem has a good chance. I believe Jahira has a good chance, and
Yes.
I'd love to be over there supporting these American fighters. So that's a goal for me, is to be over there, bringing America to France. A
Yes.
country I don't like. I think it's a soft country, and I want to bring a little toughness to France.
Well, the thing is this is like we see the Australian fans, the Irish fans, the UK fans, every time we have a pro fight, it's like they come in droves. But we don't tend to do the same thing. Like whenever there's a fight, in Ireland or the UK, we don't tend to go once they get to the pros. And now we may have some, fights in Saudi Arabia. How many of us are going to be going? But we need to be, I think we need to be more diligent and better fans, So I really love that you're going to do that.
Well, I
And
haven't done it
I'll buy
yet.
I'll buy you some French bread and some French fries for dinner
Okay, well, shit.
and some
The big
wine.
I'm right now, I'm fighting a hangover, so, I mean, that alcohol doesn't sound as good when you're fighting it.
You're like,
It sounds good 7 days later, but when like, the
right.
next day, you're like, I'm kinda thinking I'm never gonna drink again, and then you go through some personal issues, and then you're like,
Oh, of course.
yeah, um, but, yeah, I mean, I hope to be over there for that because, I mean, I think it's so lame how most of these people, and I'm not trying to criticize boxing fans because it's like there's no coverage of USA boxing. It's not USA boxing's fault. It's the network's fault. And partially it's these promoters' faults for monopolizing the dates and making the Olympic trials not as big of a deal as it is.
Absolutely.
And I'm very proud. I'm a very proud supporter of USA boxing. And I want someone to bring, in fact, tomorrow, more than likely, knock on wood, I'm going to be with the last male Olympic gold medalist Andre Ward for a short period of time. And
Okay.
that stuff matters to me. That stuff
Absolutely.
matters, being around gold medal Olympians, because of that. So, I mean, I truly believe Jamal is going to win a gold,
Me.
and I would love to be there, just knowing how he's making all the right decisions,
Yes.
and he's not really getting quite unquote quote unquote rewarded just yet for it. It's a
Right.
lot of like him knowing he's doing the right thing. So I think those are the people I want to spend money to get behind.
Yes. And he's so focused and has such great support. I
That's
will
my
say.
bodyguard, bro. If you mess with me, I'm gonna send little Jamal at you. The thing about Jamal is people don't understand how hard he
You
hits.
don't care.
The people don't understand how they're like, oh, look at that kid. He's undersized. I'm
No.
like, look, who would he fight at Worlds? He fought the guy that I really liked from Uzbekistan, and I thought he was gonna kill him.
Oh
He
yes.
he gave him like a
Yes.
standing 8, I want to say, and
Yes.
someone was like, oh, they're gonna walk through him. I go, yeah, you're not walking. That's like Frank Gore. That's like a
Yeah.
little running back, bro.
Exactly. Like show me the money. Show me the money.
Yeah, yeah.
Let's bet on that one.
I got a text right here. Do you want? I'll read it to you. This is exclusive. Um, Devin Haney, Ryan Garcia. It looks like it's 100% happening,
Okay.
and Arnold Barbosa Jr. appears to be on the undercard.
Okay. I love it. Thank you for that. I
That so
appreciate
we
it.
broke that. So I any
We
Arnold
broke it
Barbosa.
tonight.
Well, I
Tonight.
think the world knows that
On Friggin Friday.
on Friggin Friday, and Amari Jones is on the undercard too. So
Okay.
let me see if I have the name of the opponent for. Let me. I have a new phone for all of the people
Yeah,
listening,
you
so
have
I
to get
don't know
the name.
how to use it, even though every iPhone is the same. No name.
Okay.
Maybe someone's gonna send me to that fight. That would be great.
That
See,
would be
let me tell you something, and this is not to sound elitist or anything. I now feel like because I get paid to go to some boxing fights, I can't just go to them for the love of the game because then that rap normalizes don't pay Lukey. He'll
Mhm.
just go to fights. So I feel like I have to pick and choose and try to get sent places because it's like you can't normalize when you're getting paid to go to fights, just going to fights because then all of a sudden that getting paid to go to fights kind of goes away.
Right. No, I got it. I get it. But I can't not say that when I grow up, I want to be like you. Like, I would love to get paid to go to fights. So,
Well,
okay.
well, I mean, I make exceptions. I go to Jamal Harvey. Like, I'll go to Jamal's pro debut. I want to be at Tiger Johnson's world title fight because me and PJ are close friends.
Oh, yeah.
I
Yeah.
try to be as many Charlie Sheehy fights as possible, Gabe
Absolutely.
Flores, family friend. So I
Yes.
mean, I go to the people who directly really matter in my life, but it's like
Hmm.
I can't just be like, "Oh man, Devin versus." But I mean, Amari, I'm really close with Amari, so I could go with that, and that fits my mold. But I try not to go to fights that are just fights, because then I feel like that could be messing up the church's money. I could just be going, and then I might not get those opportunities to be a professional, you know?
Right. No, I get it. I get it. It's a fine line. I totally, totally get it. But I want to thank you so much for coming on tonight. You're so awesome. Oh, I love talking to you. I really do. Like, it's awesome.
And by the
Whether we're
way,
texting or we're on
yeah.
live or whatever, I love it. I love it. I really do. You're one of the real boxing heads in the game. That honestly.
The OG
Um,
Bobby Warren, man. I remember I used to go to King's Gym in East Oakland, and OG Bobby would be there, and he'd be like, I'd show him fighters, and I'd be like, how good's this fighter? Well, he ain't Joe Louis. Well, he ain't Ezra Charles. So I like
will
to
there
think
ever
that
be? Will there ever be?
no, but I just like I'd show him, I'd be like, I really like this guy. He's Paul Williams. He ain't shit. He ain't
Right.
nothing compared to Ezra Charles. Ezra Charles would have stopped him. And
Yeah.
I feel like I got a little bit of that. And a lot of these guys, there's a lot, I don't know. I feel like the other thing is I really go to boxing gyms, and I've told you this before. I've been in, I don't know, at least 8 to 10 world championship boxing camps as a filmer. So it's like, and I don't care.
I love
Like
it.
the other thing is I don't care. So like if someone gets mad, I don't really care. And I
Yeah,
think that's what makes it entertaining for people sometimes because
absolutely.
like I mean it's more interesting because how many people get on these platforms and go, "Oh my god, this guy's it's boring. It's boring."
Yeah,
People want something that's interesting, they
for
want the
sure.
disgruntled uncle. So that's where I fit in life.
No, you fit in nicely. You really
I
do.
hope so, and
You
I'm
do.
going out to Quentin Randall's fight, so if anyone is going, St. Anise, Kumash Casino, Quentin's fighting a guy named Gore.
What date is that?
Shoot, that's the 23rd of February, I think. I'm gonna be there
Okay.
with Derek, and
Love Derek.
I love Derek. And look, this is a big fight for Quentin. He lost to Norman, but that's a good
Yes.
fighter, and he's fighting near me, and I know how important every fight is for Q, and Q means the world to me. And
Yes.
anybody that knows fighters knows when they have these big fights, if you can make it, it's important to make it. So I think it's
Absolutely.
important for his morale and for people that care about him to be down there. But you look, he's fighting Freddie Roach. Freddie Roach guy. I have the utmost respect for Freddie because Freddie was the best friend of my mentor, Herb Stone. Let me check this out. I'm gonna give you an exclusive. So here's Herb Stone. I don't know if you know who Herb was, his manager.
I
And
don't.
then check this out. Uh, where is it? Oh man, this is such compelling. This is probably exactly what you wanted. Where is it? Man. Okay, well that I was gonna hold
What
something up, but
happened?
I can't find it. So I'm in the Celebration of Life program. I wrote a little tribute to Herb, and Herb showed me a lot of the game in boxing, right? Herb was and he'd be like, Loki. That's how he talked. Loki, you want the guy with power. If you don't have the guy with power, I don't like it. That's how Herb would talk to me. And he was
Okay.
this big 6'3" guy, and he'd walk over like a grizzly bear, and he'd pull me close. The nicest man. And Freddie was his best friend.
Love it.
And when all these guys go, oh, Freddie's not that. No, Freddie's the real deal. Freddie
Oh, he is.
lived most of his life
I
poor.
see it.
He's a boxing guy, and when someone's with Freddie, I know for a fact that they have to train hard because Freddie just doesn't take shit. So
Yeah.
the fact that Quentin's fighting a guy from Freddie to me is, look, Quentin doesn't want easy fights. I don't have to be his ambassador or anything, but
Right.
Quentin's one of these guys where it's like he's probably the only person in the world that if he could fight Boots Ennis, he would sign up and do it because
Oh,
he
I
truly wants to fight that level of fighter.
well, he was even in the amateurs. Like I remember them. He was like ranked in 2 different weight classes. Like and he was in jail for like so many years and pretty much trained himself and then came out and then he was ranked, in 2 different weight classes. He's phenomenal. I get it for sure.
Oh, and Tony Yayo said, why is Barbosa? I thought he was a top ranked fighter. Why is he on his own card? Barbosa is now with Golden Boy. So just to let people know that. But I mean, with Q, it's like, I think I'm drawn to people that have adversities because,
Yes,
like,
same
I've
for
faced
you.
adversities. So, like, when
Same.
someone is the kind of person, like, to me, Quentin's a great human being. And to face the challenges in life and be as judged as Quentin has been over the course of his life and to be the
Yes.
man. So, like, I shot a segment with him at DLX, right? And we shot it, and actually my corduroys ripped. So everyone's laughing at me because basically you could see my boxers and all that. And then I'm going to take my
But were they
girlfriend for,
clean?
I hope they were. Like, I can't even remember that. And Q was laughing, but like, I'm like, I got to finish the video. And then this is the worst part too. I'll tell you. So, I'll tell the funny part, and then I'll tell the reason I told this about Q. So, I ripped him trying to give Q water, and I'm getting a little bigger in my thighs, so my pants ripped, and everyone's joking and all this stuff on me and that, and my girlfriend, we went to the Golden Steer. It was her birthday, so we went to see U2, great night. And then we're going to the Golden Steer Steakhouse. We're gonna have a lovely evening. We like food. I don't know if people like food, but I like food. So I had to wear sweatpants. I gave myself what they call an atomic wedgie. So I had to pull my pants up all the way up to like above my navel because I was trying to make it look like they were dress pants. And it was
Yeah.
really uncomfortable because I didn't pack another pair of dress pants and I ripped my Dockers or my corduroys. Okay, so that happened. So the reason I bring it up with Quentin is I filmed this and I took an Uber and the Uber ride was a disaster. The guy drove me like 5 different places. It just sucked, right? And I still gave the guy a tip because it's like if he struggled doing an A to B scenario, imagine how crazy his life is. Like
He
if
needs
that's
the
hard, he needed the money, right?
yeah.
Because he's probably not going to be doing Uber for that long with the service he provided.
Yeah.
So Quentin goes, okay, where you staying, bruh? That's my Quentin impersonation. He goes, where you
Yeah.
staying, bruh? And I was like, well, I'm down at, I think we were at, what's that place called? Venetian or Palazzo, one of those, right?
Nice. Fancy.
Well, come on, man. It was a birthday. So we're staying there. Actually, I'm lying. We were staying at Circus.
Oh,
So
okay.
no,
Well, that's
no, I'm
cool.
joking.
That's cool. I've been
So
there.
Quentin goes, well, hop on in. And Quentin took me from filming. He goes, well, no, you film me, so I gotta have your back. And it's just the level of
I
unconditional
love it.
support that Quentin has. That's why I'm going to Quentin's fight. Because how
Absolutely.
many fighters have I gone to film and it's like, okay, I dap him up, and then it's like Lukey's on his own.
And they're like, peace. Yeah.
And I'll say this, I'll say about another fighter too that people love to crap on. Rolly Romero. I filmed him at Mayweather. Minute we were done, hey, where are you staying? I'm at Delano. Come on, man, let me drive you. And he just,
I have a story about Rolly too, but it's not as positive as yours.
well, Rolly
I won't say it.
has always been a good dude to me. I haven't seen him in a long time, but to me, it's Rolly and Quentin are the only two that have ever. Keep in mind, like my family, like Gabe, I fly out to Vegas, and
Yeah.
I don't even consider
Yes.
them fighters. I consider them. I live with them when I go out there,
Absolutely.
and so I mean that's different because we just
Yeah, I have those too. Yeah,
we have
absolutely.
a team environment, and in
Yes.
that. But with Rolly and Quentin, it's like they're a special level fighter to me in the sense that a lot of times fighters have to be so selfish
That's
and
true.
they have a perspective, or
They
at
don't
least they
trust
did.
people.
You know, there's a team element to Quentin Randall that is really endearing.
Yes. No, absolutely. Yeah, I love them and I love Coach Derek. I do. Like they're great people. I wish I could be there too. I'll be in Italy, with our future.
Well,
But
bring us back some medals, and we'll bring you back. We'll bring you back some hardware. You bring back some
okay.
hardware, and then we'll do
Okay.
a Zoom chat.
That's a deal. We'll do it. Absolutely. Absolutely. And it's always a pleasure talking to you. And I appreciate you so much. Like you're one of my people that I talk to. Um, so thank you for that.
I
And
mean, look, I just appreciate anybody in boxing who loves it and does it and grinds it, and you're just genuine and you're cool, and that's it. Like that, I could just run on about it, but it's like you train great fighters and you're around high level fighters and you go to these fights and you have opinions. And I think the other thing is you don't hold back your opinions. It would be one thing if you do all these things and you're like, well, everyone's great. No, not everyone's great.
yeah.
And I think that's what I also like about this show. And I also want to say I love that women are having more voices in sports. And I think that the fact that you've built a brand in a predominantly macho, masculine sport, and you've carved out not just a voice for yourself, but other women to be on your show, I think that's a really cool thing because I don't know about you, but I'm kind of tired of hearing dudes talk all the time. So it's kind of refreshing to hear a female perspective because I don't hear that outside of my girlfriend often or a fighter here and there. So I think that that's a really wonderful thing that you're doing because I think that we need more female voices in general, but especially in sports. Women watch sports and have different opinions sometimes than men or the same, but it's
Right.
interesting to hear rather than just a bunch of men thinking their opinions matter.
I love that. Thank you so much. I do appreciate that because I do need to hear that, and I think other women need to hear that too. Because we have this passion and this love, and we have these opinions, but we need, even though we're going to continue doing it because that's what women do, we still want to know that we're valued and appreciated. So I appreciate that so much. And D Style, thank you. Now I can buy a coffee tomorrow with an extra shot. Oh my gosh, you're the
How many
best.
shots do you take in your coffee? Let's get
Some,
real
I
specific.
mean, you know what? Sometimes 2 to 3. Like honestly, I do. My days are long here, like they are, and they're amazing. I love them. They're so fulfilling. But I need to be able to go, 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 go.
I
Yes,
have
join
a
us
Mocha
next
Master.
Monday,
Have you
Lukey.
ever heard of a Mocha Master? So I have a
No.
Mocha Master. It's a fancy coffee making machine, and it basically it's kind of like what do they call heroin of coffee? So it's you drink it, but it's like as pure and direct as possible. So like I mean I'm buzzing for at least 3 to 4 hours in the
Okay, I
morning.
need that. I need
Yeah,
that.
it's Williams
I'm
and
taking it.
Sonoma. Yeah, Williams and Sonoma, that's a good one. The chat. So look up the price and be sure to tally up your donations so that can go to the In the Ring with Christine Mocha Master
Mocha
Fund.
Master. Oh my
The
God.
Mocha Master.
I want it. I'm writing it down. Is that at Starbucks?
It's no, it's at Williams and Sonoma. I'm a big like cook for myself person. I like
I mean, that's what I prefer, but when you're on the road.
yeah,
Okay.
that's why I'm not excited to be at the Kumosh Casino because Uncle Lukey's gonna be eating a lot of carbs.
Right.
That's like my body when I go on the road, it's like magically I feel sick the whole time.
Oh
It's
my
like
God. Oh my God. Yes, I get it. I totally get it. Unless I'm going to a different country and it's just like, ah, it's so refreshing and cleansing. It's great.
I got another
So
story for you. So this is
okay.
terrible. You're gonna be like, get off the damn show.
No,
So
I'm
my
not.
friend Stan the Man, right? He was fighting in Minnesota. The
Stand the
legend
man.
Stan the Man Martinook, right? And he
Yes, I
took a
know stand
fight
the man.
and he got food poisoning from eating a salad. And Baz and all these other people got hamburgers. So after I heard that story, I'm strictly a hamburger guy when it's places that I think that food poisoning is in
It
play.
might be
Like I
safe.
want to look and see what everyone's ordering and I'm
Don't eat
ordering
the
that.
salad.
No, yeah, like it's like if this does not look like a place where people get salad, I do not want the salad. I want so like after that story, I'm kind of like a bare bones hamburger on the road guy. You know,
Hey, but that's kind of nice though. Who doesn't love hamburger?
I mean, there used to be a place at the Tachi Palace where Rick Merigian used to throw shows with Top Rank, and they had the Coyote Cafe, and I remember they had a blue cheeseburger, and
Ooh.
but it was the worst one. I remember we all
I love
every
blue
time we would
cheese.
try to get it, and no, ah man, the burger's not good, but like you'd finish the weigh-ins and they'd give you these vouchers that were
Uh-huh.
$25. You get like $125, $100. Fighter get them, and then you couldn't break change on them, so you just had to go at one moment, and you had to just run the bill up. So if you
Oh
went with a
shit.
fighter, you're getting like your meal comped. And I remember Andy Ruiz, I want to say his brother ate 2 blue cheeseburgers next to me. Like so, like it was a very small cafe, so it's all the top ranked fighters weigh in. It's in the middle of nowhere, so like you go from the weigh in to sitting in line to go into the blue cheese or
Mm.
the how I said the Coyote Cafe at
Uh-huh.
Tachi Palace. So if you were smart, you made a res. So every time we'd make the reservation and we'd be in there. And I just remember that's another memory I have of like wanting a hamburger, but knowing I didn't like the hamburger at this place and knowing the Huevos Rancheros or something was the better option.
Ooh,
But
ooh.
sometimes like on a Friday, you're like, okay, the hamburger is going to be a good one. But every now and then, like somehow, that blue cheese hamburger, maybe it's improved, but at the time it was not that was not the vibe.
If anybody knows, let us know. Has it improved?
Yeah, I mean, look, maybe they'll throw a show at Tachi Palace. That's if Richard Torres, who amazing
Yes.
fighter, he's
Yes,
from
yes.
Tulare.
He's
That's
here on
right
cam
by.
right now.
I'm sure he's a character. Like
Oh,
he's like a poet,
magic show,
philosopher, magician. It's like
magician. Yeah. Yeah.
lifts a ton of weight. He's like the world's most interesting man.
But you know what? But also on a serious note, he's so inspiring. Like he totally motivates everybody. He tells them stories. He like, you know, reminds them why they're here, what they're doing. He's sparring with the heavy, the light heavy, and I mean he just really is giving back. Like I give him so much respect for that. I really do. I love him.
I mean, he needs to be a broadcaster at some point
He
because
really does.
he's the most interesting boxer. And
Yeah.
I always like if I see that it's like, oh, here's Terrence Crawford, here's this, here's Richard Torres. Let's go to Richard. Like
Yeah.
Terrence is the most important fighter, but if you don't, I get the sense if you don't know Terrence kind of like, this is boring. I
Yeah,
want to
because
just go
yeah,
and
he
I'm
he's
out of
he's
here, man.
funny, but when he feels comfortable and wants to be funny. But Richard, his personality is just like all the time.
I feel like if you see Terrence, it's better to try to get Bomac or Red. Really Red because Red never gets any shine and he's
Love
just
Red.
sitting there. Yeah, but
Yeah,
it's like I feel like that's the key if you want to get the Terrences. You got to get Terrence's people because he's watching, but he's not gonna let
yeah.
you know. Like I feel like he's like, why is that guy not talking to me? Why is he not talking to me? Like I feel like that's how. But like with Richard, it's like I mean, he's such an interesting character that I wonder why ESPN hasn't fully invested in. Because it's like,
Yeah.
why not just have a camera at USA Boxing for a
Oh
few
my
days
God.
and show him talking to these next Olympians? That would be a
We
great
would.
story.
Oh my God. And the way that the Olympians the Team USA would be highlighted, if people would know who they are. I think that so a lot of people, I'll just cut real quick to this. A lot of people had a problem because they heard that Jake Paul was coming and is he taking a spot of an Olympian and blah blah blah. No, he's not. So he's gonna come, he's gonna work out, with Team USA, and he's going to bring notoriety to them, which I think is great. But as you're saying, I think Richard could do the same thing. I really do.
And I think that both are great. Like I think
They
I
are.
like Jake because I think he's a good person. Because like if you look at what he's doing, he's fighting my buddy Ryan Borland. Ryan made no money in boxing and now he's getting an opportunity to get a big fight. He doesn't have to fight. He could be fighting jumping jack guy on TikTok. He's
Right,
giving
right.
some of these guys that got used and abused by boxing the biggest nights of their life. And
Yeah, and also, I mean, even what he did, in women's boxing, Amanda Serrano, like he opened the door, I mean, and with Green, she lost her last fight, but nobody knew who she was. And now they're following her. Now they're waiting for her next fight. So I think that he's opened the doors to so many women too, which I think is very important.
well, I think another cool thing, like, and I don't know what the freak he's doing there, but like he knows a lot about a lot. So
Yeah,
like
he
you
does.
got you got people like Raheem, you got people like Jamal, you got all these people that love learning. Imagine if they take a tenth of his ideas from
Oh yeah.
social media and all of this.
Oh yeah,
I mean, that's the thing that's exciting to me is
for
thinking that
sure.
he's laying a foundwork or a groundwork of don't just see yourself as a boxer, see yourself as the future of sports. And I think
Absolutely.
that's what got me excited about it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, I'm very excited to meet him, you know. So I think it's a good thing. I think that there does need to be more eyes on our team and the future. So I'm super super excited. I really am. I
Yeah, it's
really.
all good, bro. It's all good.
It is, and
Appreciate you having me
no, I
on.
appreciate you so much. So last words. I know D Style was in the comment. He's like, join us on next Monday if you want to. So he wants you to come on Monday.
Sure. I mean, as long as I'm at home,
Okay.
I'm on the road for 12 days straight,
Uh.
starting Thursday. So
Okay.
Monday I can do it, but like once I hit the road, I'm a little bit of a grumpy hippopotamus.
I get it.
I'm
I
not
get
as
it.
like
I'm hitting it on Thursday too, so I get it.
yeah, so I'm starting on Thursday and it's just because you said last words, let me tell the world about all the projects I got going on that
Please
aren't
do.
interesting to them. So I'm doing this project for Salesforce, which is consuming some of my time. I'm working with two different promoters, Westside Promotions and G Squad Entertainment, and I'm doing my Pro Box work. Um and that's taking up a lot of my time to the point where it just always feels like I'm overwhelmed.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping that by March, things are gonna be like I only have 2 jobs. That
I
would be, like, really good. So,
breath of fresh air.
yeah, it's just, like, I was in Hawaii, and it didn't feel as much like Hawaii because I have so much going on. So,
Mm,
my goal is for in April to spend some money on going somewhere because
okay.
I wanna do something.
You
So,
need
I
to.
appreciate you having me on because this is just really helpful. This is helpful to talk boxing with people and to, not just sit and watch television, right?
Get it.
My girlfriend bought me a game called Ratchet and Clank for my PlayStation. So I play
Oh,
Ratchet, can't get past the levels. It's hard. So I'm either in the house trying to play that. I'm looking up 15-year-olds on YouTube on how to beat a level. If you ever
right,
want to
right,
feel
right.
bad, you're
You can
like,
ask
let
my
me look.
grandkids. My oldest grandson is 15.
Yeah, it's like let me because like I bought a PlayStation because I was working from 6 in the morning to 9 p.m. So I needed something to get off of the computer. So that was something I
Degress.
agreed with my girlfriend when she's not around me. We have two different places. I'm gonna do the PlayStation as a sign of you're not doing because people are like, you're a grown up. Why are you doing video games? I'm like, I struggle sitting for a movie.
It
It's like I
doesn't
gotta do
matter. It
something.
doesn't matter. Yeah. We all
So
have our thing. I
that's
play games. Like I have to too.
But, like, I'm not even, like, a gamer, it's more so I just don't work for 13 straight hours.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
the
Take a break.
Yeah, so that's the thing. So, I appreciate you doing this because it really raised my spirits. I got
Good.
a
I'm
new
so
cell
glad.
phone, so that was really stressful for me. I was gonna I guess what my motivation for spending my $1,000 on a cell phone, and yes, it was $1,000, but it's gonna be a tax deduction. Um
That's nice. That's nice.
Well, as long as
Hey,
the U.S. government doesn't say we don't agree, then it'll be, that'd be a little
right.
shaky. But my motivation for getting a cell phone was I was gonna have to write down all the addresses for tomorrow. I'm going to 4 different places, and I'm just like, oh shit, and then I was thinking, could I do it with an iPad and then go to Starbucks and then do maps? And I'm just like, this is gonna be fucked up. And I got to meet up with my girlfriend who's going to a movie, so I have to coordinate an exact time and not have a functional phone. That
Yep.
just sounded like a
Sure.
real big headache. So
Yes.
I got this. It's got cinematic mode, so I can't wait to make a TikTok video.
I
That's
can't wait
my
to
goal.
watch it.
Yeah, it's gonna be exciting. Maybe I can't think of who I'd get, but I'd get someone awesome to do a TikTok video with me. But
I know you will. I know you will.
Christine, you're the best. I love being on your
You are the
show. Thank
best,
you.
and
Nah,
I love
I'm
being on.
okay. We're shooting for average. I'm just I'm okay.
No, no,
But
no, 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 no.
we're very mid tier. I'm club fighter or contender adjacent. That's the standard we're trying to hold to
You the
boxing
man.
journalism.
You in my top five. You in my
I'm
top
in
five.
the top 5. Okay, well,
You're in my top five.
uh, I'd like to think that I'm the Alexander Usyk of boxing journalism
Ooh,
right now.
I like it.
Social misfit,
Hmm.
um, or possibly depending on my hunt. How good of a hunter is Terrence Crawford at hunting and fishing?
I think he's good at everything.
So he's just good at everything. So I can't compare myself to Terrence because it's like he's probably better at hunting, he's better at fishing than me. So it's like, it doesn't really work. So yeah, just given his personality, he just doesn't really like losing, so he just focuses on it.
Yeah, whatever he's doing, he has the balloon and he focuses on that balloon, and he's gonna smash it.
Probably the worst person to play video games with, because if you beat him in a sports game, he'll probably want to play you until he beats you and then talk
Yeah,
about that he beat you.
I played him in Miss Pac-Man, and I was an '80s kid, so and I lost. So yeah, that just kind of you know.
Okay, there we go. There we go. That sounds fun. So, okay, well, I'm about to go eat some pasta. If anyone's
Ooh,
wondering, I got some penne pasta cooking in the house, and it's gonna have
yum.
some meatballs. No pork on my fork tonight, though. We're going all lean meatball because I'm trying to lean out. I'm trying to get a little, dad buff, a little belly,
You're
but
fabulous, darling. You're
yeah,
fabulous.
no,
Enjoy.
no, realistic standards, be like a middle-aged man that's in shape. That's what we're going for.
That's
Working
wonderful.
class hero. So
Absolutely.
what do I do? Do I just click leave studio or what
Yeah,
do I do?
I'm just gonna click us out right now, and
Okay.
I will talk to you in the very near future about Monday.
Okay,
You're
awesome.
available.
This is
Have a
great.
good night. Thank you. Bye bye.